Hello and welcome to another episode of Belcast. It's Robert here, back again for another podcast. Apologies once again for the delay in getting this one out. I've just had a pretty busy couple of weeks, and just when I've got home from work, I haven't had the time or the mental energy to record a podcast. So that hence the delay. So hopefully I will have a flurry of episodes over the next few weeks to make up for it anyway. But thanks again to everybody who listened to the last episode regarding the DUP. I know it was a bit ranty and a bit of a ramble, but it's just so difficult not to be frustrated currently with local politics, and especially the DUP, when it's nearly a weekly occurrence, when there's something that makes you just want to put your head through a wall, or face palming constantly. I think I've used the face palm emoji on Twitter more than I've probably used words over the past few weeks. So, if you haven't listened to that episode or any of the previous episodes, do give them a listen. There's some interesting conversations that I've had with some people. So, check them out. Over the past couple of weeks, haven't really done much, to be honest, aside from work. I was at the Northern Ireland under-21s game against Slovakia at Windsor Park a couple of weeks ago there. Went along with a couple of family members who are over from Australia. I don't usually go to under-21 games. I go to all the home senior matches, and I've kind of been a bit out of touch with the under-21 campaign, but they've been playing very well recently. They beat Spain 2-1 and then they beat Iceland 1-0. So this was the game after those two victories, and it was being held at Windsor Park, which they aren't usually held at. But there was over 5,000 people there, which was fantastic for an under-21s football game. I think usually they might get, I'd say, a couple of hundred or maybe more, but I really enjoyed going to that. There was a lot of the attendance was from school kids, and I think the IFA had sent out a number of free tickets for schools, which is good. It's a good way of getting young people interested in Northern Irish football, and just the crowd that was there. I'm sure the Northern Ireland players were appreciative of it, because they're probably used to playing at smaller crowds, but it was just good to go and show appreciation for the campaign that they had. They won that game 1-0, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for them to qualify for the next Euros. But there's some fantastic young players coming through at the under-21 level. But not only that, it's becoming more and more diverse, which is great. And there's players that are playing for Northern Ireland that maybe 10 or 15 years ago they mightn't have wanted to play for Northern Ireland, politically, or whatever background they're from. They might have seen Northern Irish football as like a cold house for Catholics and nationalists. But you had Conor Hazard in nets, who's former Cliftonville player and currently plays for Celtic. You had Paul Smith playing up front on the left wing, who's from a nationalist background, but has played and scored for Northern Ireland seniors, and he was playing there. And it's great just watching the team and kind of being more confident that those players are going to play for the senior team again. Because I know over the past few years we've had the kind of controversies where players have played for Northern Ireland at the youth levels, and then as soon as they became senior, they played for the Republic of Ireland, jumped ship. But if they feel like they're better represented for playing with the Republic team, or see the Republic of Ireland as their home country, then by all means, I'm not going to hold it against some players. But I think there's definitely now an improvement and an increase of players from nationalist backgrounds who want to play for Northern Ireland, which is fantastic. And that's the way it should be. This is everybody's country, not it's not a unionist statelet as some people like to brand it. But yeah, it was just good to see. In a few weeks' time, I think on the 15th of November, Northern Ireland are playing the Republic of Ireland at the Aviva Stadium. So this is the senior team. I'll not be attending the game because I'll be elsewhere, but I don't really know what to think about it, to be honest. It's only a friendly, and I just don't know why it was organised in the first place. Not that Northern Ireland shouldn't be playing the Republic, that's not what I'm saying, but we've got a game against Austria 3 days later, which actually, means something, and I don't know why we put a friendly game 3 days before. And obviously there's always the risk on both sides, of a few idiots kind of stealing the headlines by singing ridiculous sectarian chants or, just causing a bit of trouble, which I hope and I think it won't happen, but there's always the risk there. I've noticed that the IFA have put a number of restrictions on the people attending, and the price for the tickets are pretty expensive as well, so I think they're just trying to get rid of the kind of troublemakers who might attend. And I think now, we're past that stage where you've got idiots stealing the headlines. I just don't think it'll happen, but again, there's always that risk, and I know the Belfast Telegraph and the Irish News will be all over it and keeping a very close eye on Northern Ireland's fans especially, because they seem to like to put articles in the newspapers about things like that. So yeah, fingers crossed everything passes well and there isn't any issues, because there just shouldn't be that angst between Northern Ireland fans and the Republic fans. Football and politics should be left completely separate, and I know it isn't the case over here, but that's the way it should be. Leave your political hat at the house and go and support the team and watch it for the sport they're playing in, not for kind of as a byproduct of your political beliefs. So we'll see what happens with that one. And yeah, hopefully Northern Ireland win anyway, but we'll see. A big event or a big news story this week was we had the amendment to the Northern Ireland bill that was passed in the Houses of Parliament, which was to give civil servants more legal clarity on abortion and same-sex marriage in Northern Ireland, which won't change the law at all, but is a step in the right direction, I think. It's just encouraging to see those issues being brought to the attention of the wider UK and Parliament, because these are now things that are alien. These are the issues that are alien to England, Scotland and Wales, and even the Republic of Ireland, where in Northern Ireland we're still behind the times by a few decades at least. It was interesting to see some of the people who voted for it and who voted against it. It was announced that it was going to be a vote of conscience, which made the vote a bit interesting, but Karen Bradley opposed it, which was slightly surprising, but then again, she's been absolutely useless as Secretary of State of Northern Ireland, and just seems to be in the back pocket of the DUP, and obviously with the Conservative government's uneasy relationship with the DUP, I'm not surprised. She also said that it was an important step to resuming devolution, which I found was a funny comment, because this bill is to give civil servants more powers in the absence of Stormont, and it's nearly like we're bringing this law in so that things can continue to work and we can just leave Stormont sitting there idle, because there doesn't seem to be any movement elsewhere. And again, as I said in the last podcast, it seems like the DUP are happy enough just to sit in the Westminster government and kind of run things and kind of flex their influence there. And again, from the Sinn Féin side of things as well, they seem to be happy enough nearly seems like they want Northern Ireland to feel, or they just want to cause a bit of chaos as well on their side, and somehow that will lead to United Ireland with Brexit and everything coming, and just seems a bit silly as well. So we're just at a complete stalemate, and when you have a Secretary of State who just hasn't a clue what they're doing, it doesn't help things at all. But yeah, the whole thing on abortion and the issues there kind of was brought to attention again this week when I discovered the Rather Be Home or Twitter account that was created recently, and it was a mother who had a child who has anencephaly, I think it's called, where part of the skull doesn't form correctly. But this Twitter account was created, and the unnamed mother was tweeting saying how about her preparations of going to England and having to get an abortion, and it just humanizes the whole thing. It's very easy for people to kind of sit in their high horse and think, life is life, and those people are evil for killing their children, and all this kind of negative opinions regarding abortion. But this was a woman who, had got pregnant and was almost, you could just see, was absolutely devastated that her child had this this illness that basically no children survive after birth when they have it. So it was heartbreaking, to be honest, just reading down the comments and reading down the tweets she was putting out. Just things you don't even think of. She was getting on the plane and hiding her bump because she didn't want people to potentially see her coming back with the bump not there, or people asking her how many weeks she is and things like that. I just can't imagine what she gone through and what her husband had gone through in that. She had to leave her toddler back at home for the weekend, and the toddler was asking about, crying because she wanted to go to England as well. And it's just, things like that, just the mental turmoil that you just don't think about and don't really want to think about as well. My fiance is expecting a child at the moment, and we have our big scan Thursday, and you just worry so much about kind of deformities and terminal illnesses and basically things like that, anencephaly, because they would turn your world upside down. But I've seen a few things and a few comments from people almost calling mothers who get an abortion murderers, which I just find is completely insensitive. And to be honest, if you see some comments in some arguments where people are bringing God and Scripture into the argument, and in my opinion, when you start doing that, you've basically lost the argument, or there's no way you can have a civilized argument after that, because that just takes out the whole common sense and the humanity of it all. Northern Ireland women don't have the choice to terminate a pregnancy if they want to, and I think there's just too many. The problem is there's too many men, and it's a bit ironic that I'm talking about this, but there's too many men with opinions on what women should do with their bodies, and it's just silly, and it's completely insensitive as well. In Northern Ireland, women just don't have that choice. They can't. They have to go to the UK to get an abortion. So worst comes to the worst, and obviously I don't want this to happen, but say if I find out on Thursday that my child has got something wrong, what choices do we have in Northern Ireland? We don't have any. And yeah, it's just it's such a difficult and complex issue that there is no black and white answer to it all, and we just need to treat things a bit more sensitively here, instead of branding people murderers or calling them evil or things like that. And